to Spiritual Debriefing. I am Daniel Meadows. To my left,
I'm Jed.
what up,
Hey,
Jed?
Jed. There he is. And then to his left,
Oh yeah, his left.
I'm Derek.
Hey, Derek.
Yeah, it's just Derek.
Yeah.
Derek, I'm glad
What's
to see
up, Derek?
you.
How's it going, buddy?
Good.
Yeah.
And
He brung his shield, so he's good.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. To his left is the door, so I guess across from him.
Right. Across the way, got Ray here, right? As always, I've already pushed the buttons, so we're good. I shouldn't have to push anymore.
You're kicked back on the couch.
Oh, yeah.
now.
We got this dialed in now. It's
Yeah.
sounding good. Now I just hit on and sit back. So this is nice. This
Sweet.
is nice. And to my left on the couch,
I am Randy. I don't know if I'm on or not, but I'm here.
Hi, Randy.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Don't forget, push like, subscribe, whatever.
we're teaching Randy how to do that part. Don't worry. He'll get there.
You're the
He'll get
last
there.
one in the line. You have to do it.
Yes. So everyone out there, please like and subscribe to the podcast. Share it with your friends. Right. That's the only way it's going to get out there right now. Share it with people you know, people you love, people you hate. I don't care if they don't like us. Just repost it. That's really all we need. Leave a comment if you can too. Send us a message. We've gotten a couple from some people. It's great to hear from a couple people out there. And yeah, I think that's all I got. Let's get going.
Well,
Man,
hey,
you do
it's-
a good job. I don't
you
think I need to
do.
do that.
You
I
do
know.
a great
Good
job
job
That
with
sounds
that.
professional,
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
does.
Yeah.
It does.
You really don't want me to tell you to push the button.
I'll tell you which buttons to push.
He already knows.
It's good to be back together. It
It has been a
it's
minute.
been a quick minute. Some stuff's been going on in life, and things got busy for us, and so it's good to see you guys back around
It
the
is.
circle,
It
square
is.
thing, whatever we sit in now.
Summertime is over.
Summertime is over. School has officially kicked
Sure
off.
doesn't feel like it. I don't know what
Yeah.
y'all are talking about. Oh, that's right. You guys are inside.
They're
That's
inside.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of inside, it's hot in here.
It
is hot in here.
Yeah, it is.
I don't like your office no more.
Well, I turned the air on whenever I got here at 6:50.
Yeah. So it's getting there.
So
It's slowly.
give it some time.
Be
Give
here
it some
earlier.
time.
Jeez.
You got to remember, he's an old soul, so it's
Old
probably like it said at
soul.
like 79.
No. When it comes to the air conditioner, it has got to be cold.
Yeah.
You know, say if he's
No,
old, they
I'm
always want it
just-
like 70, 69.
Like
Oh, no. You go to
schools-
grandma's house, it's hot.
Grandma's
Yeah.
house was always
Man.
hot. Yeah. No,
That was 'cause they were cheap.
Randy, I would have been up
Right.
here. I would have been up here sooner, but school's kicked off. So I went and ran after school, and then had dinner with Taylor, and then came up here. So
More excuses.
Mm-hmm.
sorry that I wanted to spend at least eating dinner with my wife tonight.
It must be nice.
Yeah. I'll have to do that later.
Yeah.
But hey, I did go run 3 miles after school.
Nice.
Yeah, it was warm. It was hot.
Priorities.
Right.
Well, it is when I'm training. I got that marathon in December, so
Yeah, that's why I got up at 6 this morning to mow the lawn as opposed to waiting to try to do it afterwards, which I would have had no time. I'm like, I'm going to
Hey,
mow
but
the lawn in the morning.
the humidity was sort of low.
Yeah, no, the morning was actually
that
quite
was
nice
nice,
out
yeah.
there. And I got one of those, green electric lawn mowers, so I can mow at 6 a.m. and not upset my neighbors because it
So
doesn't
it's
make a lot of noise
It's
at
not
all.
battery powered. It
Yep.
just says
It's battery powered, so all you just hear is that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking about doing a marathon.
Yeah.
Marathon
Of which movie?
sleeping.
Of the Fast and Furious, or
I started it the other day. I got the first one down.
there you go. I knew what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a car show marathon. I'm going
I
to go to
did-
every
I
car
did
show at my
too.
Chevelle.
I did too. That's what
If I
was
can,
working
I
on.
will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care about the winning. It's fun. I've never done it. I want to do it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, and that's how I feel about running marathons.
Hey, we was talking about cars, not running.
Yeah.
I know, but y'all ask me.
It's all about you, man.
Everybody asks me why I go run all the time. It is all about me. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Glad you finally realized that. It's only taken 4 years.
Go back to school.
Yeah. What are you teaching this year?
Science.
Mm.
5th grade science.
Man, how does that work out for you?
It's interesting.
I bet.
Well,
Yeah.
so 5th grade science is actually it's not horrible.
Mm.
So we talk about like matter and decomposition and where do dead things go. That's what we get to talk about this semester. So I'm pretty excited to talk about dead stuff.
Cool.
And then we'll talk about like ecosystems. So I'm gonna get a class pet. So I'm gonna go catch a fish out of the lake, and so I'm gonna talk about the ecosystem of the lake and use the fish in the fish tank and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Yeah, that's what Wyatt teacher has too. It's like a 60-gallon fish tank in there.
Yeah, it won't be that big, so it's only gonna be like a bluegill or something.
I think you need a video you catching a fish because I don't think we'll believe you catching fish.
I fished with Derek.
Yeah, we caught fish.
We caught fish.
You just missed the fish tank sale at
And
PetSmart.
it was, Derek, it was this big, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It grows every time we talk about it.
I'm telling you.
Bigger and
It's
bigger.
huge.
That's good about fish stories, man.
His arms only reach so far.
Right.
It will stop.
Yeah.
No, Derek's over there. Derek, it was that big, wasn't it?
That's dumb.
It's as big as a shark.
I know, man.
So no, but yeah, that's kind of what science looks like for me this year. Nothing, we don't get into the whole
Evolution.
Nah, not
That-
fifth
was-
grade.
I was just going to
Not
wonder
fifth grade.
how does that
That's,
split down here in
Right.
Arkansas?
Yeah.
That's the evolution. I think sixth grade they talk about evolution a little bit, but it's kind of the evolving of animals in nature. So like the beaks of certain birds and
Right.
that stuff that is
The part that's real.
Right, the part that's real. The other part.
What do you mean, birds ain't real?
The other part of evolution, like the Big Bang Theory and all that bull crap. That's
You mean the miracle science wants us to believe in?
Right. I think that's biology. That's
Gotcha.
when they get into that.
They get into that stuff. Yep.
And I remember in college, my biology teacher, he was so much of a Darwinism. He was stupid. And he's like, yeah, the Big Bang. I said, you know what the Big Bang was? God spoke.
Yep.
And that was it.
Yeah, it's in the Bible. It says, "Let there be light."
He said,
Boom.
I barely passed college biology.
Yeah, I bet.
But it was fun.
Yep. I do find it interesting how there are some people who just can't seem to marry those two things together and think that they have to be 100% separated. That they just you can't believe one or the other, and the other, I should say. They're mutually exclusive is another way to say it.
They have to be. Yeah, it's one or the other that you believe in.
Right. When actually you get down to it, and anytime you find a scientist who actually studied the Bible, almost all of them get converted. Like it is not a small faction. They all end up studying it, trying to disprove it, and then realizing they can't. And then
it's creation. It
Yep.
was created by a creator.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it.
Yep. Yep. And I was talking about this just the other day too with somebody. If I get to the end and I find out that it's older than 6,000 years or it is 6,000 years, I can go either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, if it really does turn out, I was like, oh yeah, no, I just made it that way because that was the way it needed to be for it to go from there on and everything run. Right. And that makes perfect sense to me because I used to play a lot of video games. And I've told this to people too. It's like when you turn on a video game, it's not like you got to watch the world be built and the animals grow and the trees. You just turn on it. It's there, and you enter the world, and it starts right there. And you find things, and you could. And from that video game, you'd say, "Oh, well, this dead thing on the ground must have lived at one point." No, it didn't. It was written dead.
Yeah.
It didn't live ever. So again, it wouldn't shock me if that's what it turned. If that was it, I would not be like, "Oh, shucks."
Always like talking with people when it comes to like creation, and even Christians. It says in Scripture that God created the world in 6 days, and then on the seventh He rested. Right. And I always hear people, and for a while, even myself, I was like, "Oh, 1 year to us is like 1,000 to God." So it must have not been like 6 literal days. It could have been,
Yep,
but
it could have been 6,000 years. Could have been 6 billion years.
But the more I sit and read Scripture, I mean, if I'm going to say every word in that Bible is truth, then it was 6 days that God created. Like, hello,
Yep.
It was.
I mean, and God on day one set the sun in motion. So you had day on this morning, night.
Things were going.
You had a 24-hour day on day one, whether they called it 24-hour day or not. It was there.
Right.
So just the older I get, the more I'm like, I was so dumb as a teenager.
Well, and
in that
that's one of the,
process.
as they call it, the mysteries of the Bible, that it doesn't actually, one way or the other, it doesn't actually change the important part.
No, and what's the important part for us? It's like what we were talking about earlier, right?
Yep.
The important part for us, for Christians, is not to debate little stuff in Scripture. The important part is to go out and share the gospel with people.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that's what God calls us to go do.
Yep.
So,
Just love God,
love
believe in God,
love
share
people.
God.
That's right.
Yep. Yep. It's very, very simple. The rest of it's there just to keep us busy because there's lots of hours in the day.
And if we're not busy, we get in trouble.
He's 100%. 100%.
And Satan uses that other part too, though.
So he will. He will.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm always wary when someone takes, even just a single verse, let alone like, let's take half a verse and go on that. It's like,
what? But I can do all things through Christ.
yes, I can do all things through Christ with the verse misinterpreted.
I can win this football game.
Yeah. Right. Right. God wants us to win.
God wants us to win the football game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But yet, there's got to be winners and losers. So,
right.
Mm-hmm.
There does. My prayers have changed a lot.
Yeah.
As I've grown as a Christian, because instead of praying for specific things, I just pray for God's will, and I pray for understanding, and I pray for peace.
What's it say in Matthew, the Lord's Prayer?
Well,
Thy will be done.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Thy will be done. Yep.
Not my will, God.
Yep.
I want you to do what I want.
Yep. Be my genie.
Be my
Right.
genie.
So when Harmony was like 3, I think is when they redid the Aladdin movie, right? The live action version, one of it. And, she didn't see it, but we happened to be walking through Target or Walmart. I can't remember which one. And they had the little Aladdin lamp on like the end cap. Right. And so I was letting her wander through the toys, and she was looking at stuff, and she pushed a little button on it, and it was like, say your wish and your wish will come true as it lit up and little sparkles and stuff. And so, of course, her being a little 3-year-old girl, she made some wish. I can't remember what. I think she wished for more stuffed animals or something silly. And then we walked around, and we came back up the other aisle, and she came by it again. She pushed the button again, and she made another wish. And I was like, sweetie, it's just a toy. And she laughs a little bit. And then as we were walking by it on like the way out, then she like ran back over, pushed the button again, and made yet another wish. She's like, and I wish for. She just kept wishing on that little tiny lamp because she just believed it. Again, that heart of a child. She believed 100% in that. And that it's just anyway. Story about that though is because that's the type of belief we got to have in God in the Bible, right? She just came across a thing in that moment, just had 100% faith in it. Yeah. She believed that tiny little toy was going to answer her wish. Right now, I'm not saying God answers wishes and things like that, but that's the type of faith that God asks us to have. Is just we're not supposed to say, prove this to me, like you were saying. Be careful digging through there, trying to find the evidence. That's not what we're supposed to do. But you can find a lot of things that can help you prove it to other people, maybe.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to do tonight too, because we brought up school. School's back in session. And there's a couple of us in here that have college kids now.
Oh yeah, two.
Yeah, there's two.
There's two. That's a couple.
Right. And a couple,
Yeah, degree for that.
Right. Well, I mean, and you've gone to college, and then, you have one in high school, and then, Ray, you still homeschool.
Yep.
Right? But I think these kids right now, because my daughter's in college now, and yours is going into college, and she's pretty much on her own, kind of, going down south, coming here, going there, I just wanted to put out there as like an encouragement for the kids where they need to stay strong in their faith right now. They need to stay strong in the foundation of what they got brought up in, right? Because right now, these college kids and even high school, everything is thrown at them. The devil's at play right now with them. And when you get to that college age now, the drinking starts, the partying starts, the smoking starts, the drug starts. And I think sometimes we kind of forget, like you said, you were a teenager once. We were all teenagers once. We know the temptations that are out there. I think that when we're teenagers, we forget the consequences. Right?
Oh, it's real easy to. Yeah, your brain is wired in that way. Actually, you're wired to take chances and to do things at that point, because that's when you're supposed to separate from your family. You need a boost of courage to do that, right? You've been being raised with this safe net of people for a long time, and now you need to be able to go out and be away from them and start your own thing. I mean, the crazy thing to think about is that at the age that your daughters are right now, go back 100 years and they would be probably have their first kids at this point.
Right.
And they would be on their own, starting a family, doing whatever farming or business or whatever household stuff that comes along with. I mean, fully autonomous, not just starting to become autonomous, but like fully autonomous.
Yep.
And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. That's just the way society's changed right now. But it's just an interesting thing to think about, that it's possible. It's in them. It's 100% in them. It's we just have to remind them of that strength and power that they have. They just have to know that it's there. You can say no. You can do new things, but also understand the right situations to not get yourself in. That's something I wish I would have understood a little bit better.
Me too. And then, a lot of things are preached on God is love, right? Love, 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 love. But sometimes we forget the part that too, God is of wrath as well, right?
We're to fear God.
We have to fear God, right? And then I think we forget that as teenagers. And even as adults, sometimes we forget that the fear of our Father. And, you can ask some of the younger kids now and go, how come you don't get in trouble? Because of the fear of my dad. I don't want to get in trouble because of the fear of my dad. We need that fear with our Father that is our God, right? So we need to have that fear. And even when they're in college, they still need to have that fear of their Father. And I just wanted to just put out there just to say, hey, stay strong in your faith, stay strong in your foundation. Do not get tempted by everything that's coming your way. And surround yourself with Christian students.
Yeah,
right?
that's your best bet.
And even Christian friends, and we even do that as adults now, and that's what we do. We surround ourselves with Christian. We talk about this all the time, right? When we say that iron sharpens iron. Yep. Because now, even my daughter, she got a roommate now. She's in the dorm. And she told me yesterday that she goes, my roommate doesn't want to party. She doesn't want to drink. I said, then you stick with her. Right. You keep each other accountable for that. And then, then they said that they're, what do they call the RAs or
RAs.
RAs.
RAs. And he wants to start doing Bible studies.
Oh, sweet.
Right? So I says, you need to stick with that. And then that's going to keep you within your foundation. I says, this camp has been a blessing for her. Her foundation, her faith has gotten stronger. And, I got to admit, too, I was like a nervous wreck, right? When she drives back and forth from Iowa, or even when she's driving now to, an hour away to college. And now she's there by herself. And even as us parents, I just want to say, the encouragement to our parents too, that, we serve a God that knows all, right? A God that will protect better than we can.
That's true.
And so for me to say I wasn't, let me see how to put this, but I just a nervous wreck really, because I'm like, okay, God, you are in control of this. This is your will. Whatever happens is your will. And I kind of want to put that encouragement to the students and to the parents, because we need to have that faith in God. Our faith has to be there, even as parents, saying, God, you're going to take care of my little one, right? And even in college, and even when they're tempted, the temptations, the daggers, everything's going to be thrown at them. So, that's what I kind of want to do tonight. I know you brought up school just a little bit. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to throw out there.
I like it.
Please, kids, stay strong in your faith.
Yep.
Stay strong.
Yep. And I was trying to find the verse. I think it's in Matthew. I just couldn't find the exact one. But it's one of the things they really need to remember is that, as it says, no one can serve two masters.
Right.
You are either for God or against God.
Right.
So every single person who you are around at school, I'm not saying they're bad people, but if they are not Christians, if they do not believe in God, then they are on the enemy's side. They could be used at any moment by the enemy against you.
Right.
And so, as you were saying, you need to find your Christian friends, find your Christian group, and stick with them, It's the spiritual warfare we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going into a place where most colleges nowadays are behind enemy lines
Right.
for Christians.
Right.
So you don't go in there alone. Don't go in there and try to just do it on your own. Find your group.
Yep.
Find your good Christians who believe the same things that you do, and stick with them and stick together with them. Let them know you got their back too. Help, keep each other accountable. Actually, I just saw a guy was talking about that. He goes, you remember back in the day when you'd be at church and you had to hold somebody accountable, and you'd pull them aside and you'd talk about it. And he goes, nobody seems to do that anymore.
No, because,
nobody seems to do that
because now
anymore.
if you do that, now you're stirring the pot,
Yeah.
and then now you're going to make everybody else upset. Because I'm known for that, right? I will call somebody out, and it's not into a matter saying that I'm right and you're wrong. It's a matter of just, this is out of love, and sometimes out of love.
Shining
And we
the
know
light
from
on
our
it.
father, too,
Yeah.
even growing up, I have to spank you, and I don't want to spank you, but this is out of love, and it hurts me worse than it does you. That is absolutely true. Like, it is true, because when I had to spank my kids for the first time, I'm like, oh, my dad was right. Man, that hurts me worse than it does you.
You
know what I
don't
mean?
realize it's going to go away quickly. The pain they feel goes away rather quick.
Right.
And
it does. But that everlasting moment right there where they got disciplined, they will remember, and so we need to do that. I mean, we're accountable for that too. If we see something that is not right,
right.
we need to stand for that.
Well, and it's because with proper fear comes respect.
Right.
If you have fear for something, it does not mean you are afraid of it. Right, that's different. I've been talking with Harmony about that a lot lately because she's had this new fears come up of tornadoes. Right, so every time there's a big storm rolling through, she can't sleep. She wants to, she gets out of her bed. She goes and lays on the couch in the living room, and they'll stay up all night. And she just constantly wants me to check the weather and show her the weather alerts every time there's storms because it's just something happened. Now she's just afraid of them all of a sudden. And I've been trying to talk to her about the fact that it's like, I'm scared of a tornado too, but I don't let it. I'm not afraid of it. I have a fear of them. I have a respect for them.
Yep.
I will not hesitate to do things to protect us if we need to.
Shouldn't cloud your judgment on it.
But yes, you don't need to cloud your judgment on it. I don't need to quake every time I hear a go off. I don't even need to get too worried when I hear that there's a potential for tornadoes. I just start paying attention. I make sure my alerts are turned up on my phone. I make sure that, if something's going to happen, I'm going to know about it. Right. And so it's that same thing with, it's that respect of something, right? Like driving a fast car, where, you love, you're putting a bigger motor in there, going even faster. And the people who go super, super fast, they might, they're adrenaline junkies. They love it. But deep down somewhere, they also have a fear and a respect of that.
Right.
Because the ones who don't are dead. But they didn't make
Well, I
it.
was going to say, Randy doesn't know what that's like. He drives a Chevy.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to put it in there. Sorry.
Hey, that Chevy beat you over here today. Well, I'm gonna throw this out there before we get too far along because everything you said, Derek, I'm gonna put this in a question form here, but this is for everybody. But just what you were talking about a while ago. If I can get my phone to work here.
Won't shrink for you.
No. It says, I'll just have faith in your. Yeah. Hang on.
We'll get there.
There.
Technology.
Have faith in your child, and they will have faith in themselves. What do you think about that quote? As far as you talking about, like, Autumn driving back, you having faith in God, but you're showing the confidence in her, saying, you can do it. You don't sit there and probably say, well, Autumn, this could happen. This could happen. You do to a certain extent.
Right.
But you don't do it to instill fear in her. You
Right,
sit there and,
right.
and you have, Autumn, I'm right here with you. Or even my daughter, hey Haley,
Yep.
you're doing this by yourself, but I'm going to tell you, you better pay attention. This could happen, but you are, you're solid enough to make this happen too. So
And why I was a nervous wreck? I mean, she's been in 5 accidents.
I wasn't going to bring that up. I was talking about
guess what? Guess what? I'm paying insurance on that now. That's way high. But
but I think
I put that
if
faith in her too, and that confidence in her because
gonna say
now,
confidence, yeah.
she's
Otherwise, you wouldn't let her drive.
right.
You would have
Because
gone and you would have
she
drove her up
pulled a
there.
horse trailer and a horse from Iowa down to Arkansas. A 17-year-old daughter. And so my prayer was a little different that time too because I was very, very detailed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we need to be sometimes as well. I mean, God, we're talking to our Father. Going, hey, please don't let the bearings heat up. Please don't let somebody pull out in front of you. It's just detailed stuff. But there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Nope, not at all.
And so, and now, it's built a little bit more faith in my faith as well, too, because, I'm like, God, you're in control, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you are in control. And every parent, I think, has gone through this. And not even just parent. I'm just saying people in general. I mean, even... if y'all don't have kids, and Daniel, even the faith in protecting your wife, or protecting loved ones, or protecting whoever, it's just one of those things that we kind of just take for granted sometimes, and then it's in our nature too to worry, right? And now that she's gone on her own, and kids are independent, the confidence that they're building into themselves as well.
Yep.
Is building confidence in me into them.
Yep.
Knowing that she can handle this. It's all baby steps, right?
That's what I was going to add to that is if we are nervous wrecks about our kids because we were there. We know how we were nervous when we first got behind the wheel,
right.
Especially on a long trip. But I think with the faith, like you said, comes the confidence. We need those situations just so that we're not afraid to do those things later in life. Because now she's probably not afraid to take that horse trailer anywhere.
Right.
Oh, even going through traffic.
Yeah.
Putting it in a field 20 miles away.
Mm-hmm.
If she didn't do that, she would probably still be in, Dad, I probably need you still.
Well, yeah.
And we need that to come along with our faith is the confidence.
Yep.
As long as, we don't exceed our confidence saying, well, I can do that anytime, and then we just get too far out and not even put faith back in front of it.
Yep.
So.
And then we can kind of change that up just a little bit because it kind of just clicked in my head too. Like with Wyatt now. He's 13. And I told Crystal that your job's over now. It's my turn.
Yep.
I'm building the man. We're done. You babied him enough, and now it's my turn, and I'm building the man. So it's the same thing, though, too, is I have to get him into circumstances. We got to get him into trials.
Yep.
We got to get him into these things and know how to work hard, take care of your family, be a Christian husband to, your upcoming wife, right? All of these things that we have as duty as men now have to be taught to him and saying, now it's my turn.
Yep.
This is what you're doing, and I got to do that, and I got to step away sometimes.
Yep.
And to build that, and I know, Jed, you probably do the same thing too. Running a tractor, pushing cows, with Hayden now. I mean, the confidence you have in Hayden probably now, he can almost do anything.
Yep. And the thing is all of us in this room, we teach our kids, we have expectations, and of course there is always a consequence if something's not right. And they need to learn them consequences. But the world around our children now, consequences isn't a thing. I don't know how it is, Daniel, at your school, but I know I have fought with the last 2 or 3 years of kids not turning in their work. Guess what? You get to turn it in before the grades are done and you still get full credit. You
get 2, 3 seconds, 4 different chances,
4 or 5 different chances. And it kind of goes back to what Ray was talking about earlier. People don't believe in the devil because they don't want to know that there's a consequence. And that's kind of how the world is. And
I was going to say, we've got kids that they won't turn in work until right before grades are due. The day before grades are due. And a lot of that is, they know too, if they don't make the good grade, mommy or daddy will go up to the school and argue and gripe and complain and fight till they get the good grade. And so why do I have to put in the work? There's no work ethic.
There's no work.
And that's where it's at. There's no work ethic right now.
And then
for life, that's not good because if a kid's trying to cross a street and it decides to take a step and stop, what happens if there's a car coming?
Right.
I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios there, but I mean,
and you see it every day in the school. There is no, you see kids who just barely get by. That's what I love with hearing stories of Randy when Haley's not doing good in school, Randy will go up and like he doesn't blame the teacher. It's not the teacher's fault of his kid failing.
Whoops.
Like, let me say,
sometimes.
let me say that as a teacher, it is not always our fault for your kids failing.
But it's like Derek
as a
said,
parent,
we have to shine the light on the situation.
right?
Yeah.
It's not that I'm going up there yelling at the teacher.
Right,
It's
no.
not that I'm yelling at Haley. I want to know whose fault it is.
Whose fault? Why?
And we're going to fix it right in front of
Right.
who's all involved.
Right.
There is none of this running around, said behind your back, do this,
Right.
stirring the pot in the wrong direction. No, I'm just saying.
I go right to the person.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And that's the thing, like
so
at the
that's
school,
what we
right,
need more of.
Right, and that's not what we get. We get a
Yeah.
lot of parents who come up. Why is my kid failing? Well, look, here's the work your kid has turned in.
You want the truth, or you want no?
and then, right, like here's the work he's turned in. So yeah, I gave him a 1 because we're standards-based grading now. So we grade 1, 2, 3, and that's all you get. No more ABCs. And so it's like I give your kid a 1 because there's no evidence of anything on there except for his name. Like, how do you expect him to have a 3?
What can I grade?
Like, he wrote his name. Yay, he's 5th grade by this point. Like, he should
Right.
have done that in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
and so that's where, like, we just don't have that anymore. We have parents who we're entitled.
Right, and then
We
that's
have the entitled people right
They
now.
think it's all microwave. It's the microwave
Yeah.
generation, as they call it. They think they
we-
just put their kid in school, and
Yeah.
then school handles all of it. I don't have to do anything. I'm not responsible at home to make sure they're doing their homework. I remember my mom checked my homework. When she said, "You got your homework done? Okay, show
Every
it
day.
to me."
Every day.
Yeah, show it to me.
Yep.
And in Bentonville, in the school district I teach at.
Oh no. You gotta delete that one out.
We didn't do homework for the longest. Like for elementary, middle school, like when grades didn't matter for your GPA, we didn't do homework. We just didn't. Like, it was like, okay, if you don't get it done in class, whatever, like, we'll work on it later. And that's where it got into the whole, now we're spending a whole 9 weeks to work on one assignment, but yet we've got all this other stuff we still have to teach.
Yep.
And
We're trying to instill
our
in-
superintendent this last week, as we were getting back for teachers, she was like, that's done. Homework has to go home from now on. And we were like, yeah.
We're trying to instill in Haley that, as a freshman, it's going on your permanent record.
Right.
So once you go to college, they see everything you slacked on.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't look back and say, well, that wasn't my fault. No. Because I'll be the one right there reminding you it was. And the other point we try to instill in her, and I use this as the example because she's getting old enough now. She thinks she wants to have a boyfriend, but I told her she can't have one until I decide that's right. I'm teaching her to not rely on a man. I'm teaching her to be able to do all the stuff she wants and want a man. A man doesn't need to do everything for a woman, but should be there to do it if necessary. So to sit here and tell her, you have to still work hard to do what you want to do in life, but you don't need that partner to do that for you. You need to be able to just have the relationship with that partner and not rely on them for everything. And it's the hardest thing to sit there and tell her that, because it's, Dad, can I do this? Can you help me with this? Yeah, sure, let's do it. Well, then I catch myself and go, no, do it yourself, and I'll help you if you struggle with it. And I have to catch myself every time. I'm like, no. This is not how this is supposed to work. You're supposed to think and learn for yourself. There's no problem for asking for help, but you need to take that step into going that direction first. But it's hard to do that with teenagers.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
It is.
and we fast forward their lives too. If we take that work ethic out now, that work ethic's not going to go later in their life. Marriage is work.
Yep.
Work is work. Everything that we do in life, there's work involved in it. It doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah.
Even at church, it's work, right?
Hey, I was gonna
There's
say,
no perfect.
Even trying to do, the Bible,
Right.
following God,
It's
is
still work.
It's work.
I don't care how much everybody says, well, all you got to do is give your life to Christ. It's not over at that point. He still asks you to do a job.
That's the beginning.
That's the
That's when it starts. Yeah.
You prepare for your life to change at the point of saying, yes, I want God in my life. Be prepared in your life to say, okay, this is on my permanent transcript. Now this decides my future here. They're going to look back and say, well, look, 9th grade, you made a D. Why? Well, come up with a good excuse or just say, I'm trying my hardest to move on. I'll show you my work ethic. But nobody wants to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry. I just wanted to give a throw out to the kids and then the
I think that's
and the parents too. I mean, even the parents, because I mean, we worry too, and we got to have that faith that that we did our job as parents, and we raised them up right, and we have that responsibility as parents too.
Yep.
Is we need to raise those kids up in a Christian family, right?
right.
That's our response. We are going to be judged on that as parents.
We spent several weeks talking about that one.
So
Still be supportive even though they're out of the house.
Yeah,
Still be supportive
absolutely.
and be there for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And as
Not holding their hand through everything.
no, but be
being
there for them.
supportive.
Yeah, I'm there for them. I mean, because
Yep.
they're going to have times that they don't have money. There's going to be times that they can't handle all the pressure. There's going to be times, we're going to be there and help them, but I can't do everything for them.
We have
Exactly.
to learn to
Yeah.
step back and let them.
Yep.
We had to do
Don't
that.
don't always be their crutch.
Don't be their crutch
Don't
all the
always
time.
be
No.
their
right, they got to
crutch.
fail. They got to
Sometimes they've got
fail.
to hit that bottom.
They got to fall
But-
down.
Yeah.
They got to break an arm. They got to break a leg.
Because this is where, like, I think, like with my in-laws, the situation with me and Taylor is different than the situation with their brother, right? Like, we had to move back in them with them because of a situation that happened that we had no control over.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that happened at the church, like, we had no control.
Mhm.
It wasn't like I forgot to pay bills that I lost my house. It was just that the house we lived in belonged to the church, and so when that was done, the house was gone, and so we had to move back in until we could get back on our feet up here.
Right.
Brother's a little bit different. He had a house, and he just chose not to pay for it. And so then he was like, "Oh, I got to move back in because I can't afford to live anymore."
Yeah, it didn't want to work. Right.
Right? And so that's where I'm like, well, actually, his ex-wife, wife, girlfriend, whatever she is right now, I don't know. I'm so confused with their whole relationship.
It's complicated.
Is very much that entitled mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's what I want when I want it, so you're gonna pay for everything.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pay for nothing,
and I deserve it.
right. And now you're broke, but I'm mad at you, but I still want it all. And so, and that's where I look at him. I'm like, you chose your situation. I did not choose. That was the only place I had to go back to because I was jobless.
Yeah.
And so that's where being there for your kids when it's needed.
Right.
That was a needed situation as opposed to being the crutch.
Yeah. So sorry. I mean, every time we get back together, it's been like a big gap, but then there's been like major life changes in our child's lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so those are just things on my mind right now that just, we just need to encourage them, man. And we got to be there for them as a church as well.
Yeah.
We're the body, and we need to be there for them.
Yeah. Y'all did y'all move back Sunday?
Yeah. I moved her in on Sunday. That's why we weren't here at church.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Because their coach is like, you got to be here at 11, But hey, it worked out because she got to pick her side of the dorm. So,
There you go.
right.
There you go.
hey, that worked out.
There you
But,
go.
Right.
but yeah, so yeah, that's what was on my mind.
Well, and I think there is good signs. I think some of the things that have happened over the last few years have pushed a few people who are on the fence off the fence, one way or the other, for good
You're
or
right.
worse. There are because there is no fence. They realize there isn't a fence. If you're sitting on the fence, you're just putting blinders on and trying to ignore it. That's what you're
Right.
trying to do, but you're still influenced by it. Things are still changing. I know it was a big wake up call for a lot of people over the last couple of years on what's going on, what's happening, and hopefully they're taking some action, taking some responsibility. Because as you had said, God not only is he going to judge the parents, he's going to judge the fathers the harshest.
Yes.
It is. We are the head of the household. We have that headship, yet we are also supposed to be the servant of the house too. Right. That's the be like Jesus for our household, which means that we are the ruler of the house, but that means we put ourselves last, right? So you as you were saying, you don't want to be a crutch for your kid, but at the same time, you will die for your child. You will do everything for them, anything for them to help them, you know?
And that's a fine line too.
Yeah.
You know, because you can spoil them too much too and make them entitled.
Well, right. That's true. There is I don't mean you give them everything they want. I didn't say you give them everything they want.
Fifth graders having the iPhone 14?
Yeah.
What?
Or Derek buying the wrong brand of car.
That's weird.
Yeah,
hey,
that's
didn't
terrible.
you buy that same brand though? For yours?
For yours.
So,
That's what I'm saying. That's what you do for your kids.
Well, you know what? You know what that taught?
sorry,
Randy raised his daughter right. She goes, Dad, I don't want one of them old Chevys. I want a Ford, Dad.
I failed.
I failed.
Well, you still got another one.
You got another shot. It's all right.
She's already threatened to take the Chevelle already. And I'm like,
well, there you
just
go.
because
So
you got
then-
your black belt now doesn't mean you did
Right.
Hey, Randy,
that means something.
that just means you raised that one right.
Well, yeah. Haley says
in
that
your
Hannah's my
eyes.
favorite.
Yeah.
I disagree. I think I got two favorites.
She tells everybody that Hannah's their favorite.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's terrible. I don't know
That's
why
weird.
she
I think
come
the
with that.
Chevelle's a favorite now, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but don't tell that to their faces.
Yeah, they
When you
don't.
said favorites, I found a deal last night. It said it turns out that when you're asked who your favorite child is, you're expected to pick one from your own.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's why I just split the difference and said the Chevelle.
My kids at school, they always, even last year, they're like, "Hey, am I your favorite?" And I'm like, "You're my favorite, whatever their name is, in fourth period." And they're like, "Really?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm the only one. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have figured it out.
Yeah, that's what my kids do too. Like, oh, who's your favorite? I says, Wyatt, you're my favorite son.
There you go.
Autumn, you're my favorite daughter.
See, you got it easy. I can't do that.
Right.
And then they look at you and go, "But we're your only ones."
Yep, you're right.
You're
Gotcha.
I
right.
could split it up and say, well, you're my favorite during wrestling season. But I think Hannah's wanting to go in wrestling now, too. So it still makes it hard for me.
Yeah. What season is it? Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, the truth though is, it depends on the day.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, good luck this year, Daniel,
Appreciate it.
in school and
Yeah. I'm on a good team, you know. We met yesterday and today. Of course, we've met throughout the last couple of weeks, but yesterday and today we met in one of our 4 classes before school specifically to pray for our students.
Yeah, nice.
You know.
That's good.
So I'm on a good solid team.
Well,
this
it's even
year,
like
and we-
teachers, right? You got to surround yourself with
Yeah.
good Christian teachers
Yeah.
as well.
So we have good we get to have good discussions. And
Good.
So,
That's good. Yeah. And
All
it's like
right.
even in the workforce now that I'm, doing with Corey. So like tonight we're supposed to have Corey on.
Mm-hmm.
Things didn't work out, but hopefully the next podcast we'll have him on. And that's going to be cool. I'm excited for it because
I am too.
he was our second episode, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was interviewed and he gave his testimony on the second episode. And now that we got, a handful of episodes down, he's going to come back.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for it, but hopefully it works out next podcast. And so that was what we were planning on tonight, but now we're getting, all over the place, but hey, that's all right. That's what we do.
Yep.
the
But
second
even-
episode,
We're letting God control the
Yeah. I mean,
conversation.
and like talking to Corey now too, like, hey, being in that Christian, even workforce now, that we can openly just sit there and talk about God.
Yeah.
If we're not doing nothing, man, we can just sit there and be like, what's your point of view on this? Or what do you think about that? Or, and now you don't have, I don't know what the word is. I mean, I always get mind blanked all the time, but it's just really nice to have that encouragement,
Mm-hmm.
even in the workforce, because you're there for 40, 50 hours a week.
Right.
And you have that encouragement.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. The last 2 jobs that I've had were, Christian-based companies. And they're way different. I mean, just completely different. And,
Yeah.
they care, they love, they want to take care of, as an employee.
Yep. It's more. It's more family. It's the same type of family you find amongst the family of God.
Yep.
You know, there's a reason that is used multiple times in the Bible to refer to us as Christians, because when we do come together that way, we have a care and a love for each other that that again you don't find in the world.
And it is a family, right? And you say that as a family, and even with family, we have troubled times, right?
Yeah.
We have disagreements. We get,
you got family
we
you don't
get
like
mad,
very much.
We get mad. We don't get mad. You know, we get over it. We forgive. You know, it is a family. Yeah. And so sometimes we got to remember that, you know.
But it's a family you get to pick.
Right. Right. It is a family you get to pick.
That's right.
So if you don't like it,
there's another church on the next corner. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. But that's what happens sometimes, you know, and I see it more and more. And sometimes I have to, I guess, step backwards sometimes as well. Maybe sometimes I get a little too aggressive.
Yeah, we got to remember that it's not. None of them are going to be perfect.
No, they're not.
Even if you started your own church, it will eventually not be perfect.
There's
I'll tell you.
no perfect marriage. There's no perfect church. There is not.
You could start your own church, write all the rules yourself, give it 10 years, and you'll probably find a whole bunch of things you don't like about it.
I'll tell you right now, brother. As soon as I walked into these doors, that's not perfect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right.
And that goes
it
for
just
all
got
of
even
us.
more
That
imperfect.
goes for all of us.
It wasn't perfect before I got here. It wasn't perfect while I'm here.
Right.
And it won't be perfect after I leave here.
Right.
Like,
And that's what, like we were talking about last podcast, right? We don't need to divide and split, and that's what Satan wants us to do, right? He wants to isolate us. We don't need to. We need to be able to go. Okay. We don't agree on this. We agree on the important stuff. This thing we can talk about. We can take some time. Let's discuss it another day. Let's
Yeah, that's how I've been trying to do it lately, because, you know, there are so many different rules in the budgets, right? And the IRS rules and this and that, like stuff I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because I come from the simple mind where we do this, get this. Boom, boom. You know,
it's just a number. You just add money to it or you take money out of it. That's all you do.
But you can't do that, right? And so now I kind of just want to ask questions, right? It's okay. Show me why we do it like this.
Yeah.
Why are we doing things like this? I don't want to come to them and go, you know, you're wrong, I'm right. No, but just show me, like, why can't we move this over to this or do this over to that? And they explain to me, I go, okay, all right, well, it makes sense. Okay, we have to do that because there's federal laws in effect that we got to do certain things. So where I could be so mad and just be like, you know, I'm out of here. I don't want to put up with this, right? And sometimes I've gotten like that where, I mean, I'm be very, very personal with you, where there's been certain times where I'm like, I'm done. Like, there's so many times I just hit my head against the wall. But now I want to approach it in a different manner and saying, show me, teach me. Because we are the next generation leaders of the church. We are. And it is the responsibility of the leaders that are in the church right now is to teach us upcoming leaders, right? That's their responsibility. And so when we have the mindset of coming, all right, well, teach me, show me. Why do we do things like this, right? And we had a discussion, you know, a couple days ago. And I kind of sat back and kind of prayed about it and just thought about it and says, okay, let me go into this as a different mindset. And I did. I sit down, teach me, show me, you know. And so maybe sometimes that we need to do that. Instead of just going in there, bull rushing them and going, this is dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, no, we need to do it like this. Okay, show me why you do it that way.
Explain to me
why. Why do we do it like this?
Right.
You know, so.
And that's also the only way you're ever going to be able to change someone else's mind too. Because one of the things that you'll find is and I'm not saying this fits to this situation specifically, but it can fit to multiple situations when somebody says something and you just turn around and say, why do you believe that?
Right.
And they might not even know.
Right. They
might not have ever thought about it. It was just told.
And it could be tradition.
Yeah.
Right.
Or tradition.
It could be tradition. And then, like, traditions are sometimes wrong. Right.
And that's where you come and you meet in the middle to
and say, hey, here's the facts here. And our guideline is all in that book. Right.
like touching the back of a car when you get to a traffic stop.
Yeah. Like, see, I don't like that. I don't like that. I mean, that's my opinion because,
right.
You know, We have cameras now.
Right.
Right.
That was an old way of doing.
That was an old way of doing things. Now there's a new technique that you can use, and that I'm not gonna say, but there are new techniques that are out there that bring more safety to the officer than doing that. So, there's certain things even like that, even in the workforce, the church, there are traditions that were passed down. We only do this because, well, this is the way I was taught. Yeah, but that could be wrong. So I don't know, there is, I mean, we have to get to the middle of things, we have to get ourselves involved in certain things. And that's how we learn. Right. If we ain't struggling, we ain't learning. Right.
Yep. And you got no right complaining about it if you're not.
Right. If you ain't struggling, you ain't learning.
That's right.
And you ain't growing.
That's right.
Because now if you stay stagnant, you ain't growing.
You want to come teach?
I'm just saying. I mean, it's the same thing I teach my kids, and the same thing that I teach my, run through my head all the time. I've had a handful of jobs and different things and different but I take those opportunities and go, man, I want to learn something new. I'm going to struggle through this. I'm going to try to master my craft. And then, when you get to, you'll never master a craft. You know that, Jetty.
Oh, yeah.
So, but, you always want to master your craft.
Yep. Or you're in the pursuit
of mastering your craft,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And so now you're growing. And we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing in the church. We're doing the same thing in the Bible. We're still struggling, right? But we're still growing.
Yep. There is, even in nature, struggle is required for growth. Struggle is required for change. A good example just for when you're growing something, if there is no wind, it will not grow strong. It'll fall right over on itself. Right. Because it needs that wind
to get the roots down.
To get the roots down and to build up the cell walls of the plant itself. So if you have no wind at all, keep something completely protected, and then even the slightest thing can kill it then. Yep. Right. If you just like humans, if humans are isolated from bacteria and diseases and fungus and all that type of stuff, if you raise someone in a bubble and didn't let them experience any of it, and then all of a sudden pulled them out when they're an adult and stuck them in the world, I mean, that might kill them. I mean, because they just you have to have that struggle. Working out is another great example of that, right?
So am I
I love working out.
Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel, real quick. I'm sorry, man.
Go ahead.
The
I was
working
just
out
tell
one
you a quote, but
is awesome. I'm sorry because I've been going back to the gym too because we can be in the gym if we don't touch the weights, we're not going to get stronger. Yep. Right.
Ooh, I told my kids something similar to that.
If you ain't sweaty and you ain't hurting when you're done, you're not gaining anything.
You ain't gaining nothing.
Yeah.
So my room at school is like very mountain based. The teacher that was in there had this beautiful wall mural of mountains up, and she's like, "I don't want to take it down and have to re-stick it up." I said, "Leave it. I'll take it. It's fine." And so I've got this quote up as well on a mountain picture, and it says, "The best views come after the hardest climbs."
They do.
And I'm man, like that's one of my favorite things about mountains. Anyways, I love mountains and I love hiking mountains and climbing. And I told the kids yesterday. I said, if all I do is stand at the base of the mountain, can I say that I climbed that mountain? And they were like, well, no. I was like, how can I claim that I climbed the mountain? You got to put in the work and climb. I'm like, same thing in the classroom. How do you claim that you can have really good grades? Put in the work. Right. Like, and it's the same thing in life.
It is.
In life, right? How can you get the best looking body? How can you get the muscles? How can you lose the weight? Put in
I'll
the
show
work.
you how.
Put in the work.
You
how
have
do you
to.
grow in your spiritual walk?
Yep.
Man, you got to go through the climb. Like, get ready for it because it's fixing.
So the wolf that's climbing up the hill is hungrier than the wolf on top.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And
Absolutely.
we've heard that many times, and I don't know where that comes from, but that runs through my head all the time. And it's funny because when you go into life and you go into work, you go into school, the person that's on top, you're more hungrier than they are.
Yeah.
And and they're in their comfort zone, right? They need to climb the next peak.
Yeah.
Or they're going to stay right there because they're going to be in their comfort zone. We talk about it all the time. Our first podcast was on comfort zones.
Right.
And why are we in our comfort zone? Because it's comfortable. We're not struggling. Everything is nice. Everything's going the way we want it to go.
Yep.
But you ain't climbing.
All right. That's what I love about running. Like, I hate the run itself, But when I finish or cross that finish line and know that I've accomplished something I've set my mind to, and I've put in the work to get there,
Right.
Yeah.
like that's it for me.
The want is not enough. You can't just want it. You have to then
to go
do
put in the work
to make it happen. You look at the most successful people out there in the world. They all run multiple companies.
Yeah.
And it's because they start one. They get it off the ground. They get it going. And as soon as they get to the part where it's kicking, it's humming, they're not sitting there, because that's when they get stagnant. That's what that all the time, the people who hit that spot, then it's this, then all they're doing is this after that, the ups and downs and ups and downs. But then the really successful people say, great, now I'm going to take this person, put you in charge of that. I'm on to the next peak. Yep. I'm on to the next company. I'm on to the next thing.
You can't stay on that one mountaintop.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to go back down into the valley to get to the next one.
And then look at it this way too. Most people don't see your struggles.
No, they
Right?
don't.
No.
They see your successes,
Yeah.
but they don't see your struggles. And we could change the analogy a little bit
because
for
we
like
hide
Randy,
them.
right? Like you got that car, right? We've seen your car. It's an old Chevelle. We see it now. And then in 3 to 4 months from now, we see it and it's different. We didn't see the struggle that you put into putting a new motor in there, getting new to this. We don't see the late hours in the shop.
Hope you don't.
Right? I'm just saying, right? We won't see that.
Yeah.
But we do see the end product.
Yep.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So that's your success.
Yep.
We see that. We don't see the struggles.
No.
No.
And that's what people don't understand is because they're like, why can't I get what he has? Because you're not putting in the work.
Right.
If you want the results, you got to do the work. Do work, get results. Like, that's the way it happens.
The number one thing to do that is discipline.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And you can start, one of the first easiest ways to start, the simplest discipline is just being like, okay, I'm going to read my Bible for 20 minutes in the morning.
Right.
I'm getting up 20 minutes earlier, going to read my Bible. And then you could, once you got that nailed, you've been doing, I think it's 30 days of doing it. And then you pretty much, it's become a habit at that point. And as long as you don't do anything stupid, you're not going to mess that up. And then all of a sudden you go, all right, now I'm going to get up 20 minutes earlier, do a little workout before I read my Bible, right? Or after I read my Bible, whichever way you want to do it. Right. And then you can start just chip away at it. One bite at a time, right? Don't try to eat the elephant all in one day.
Well, and that's
Just
what Jed
go a
brings
little
up
bit.
too all the time. He reminds me of this like on a daily basis, and we talk all the time. Step by step, Derek. It's just step by step. And so sometimes I get myself it's so much piled on me, and I just go overwhelmed. And then there's Jetty. Hey, just step by step.
How do you?
Oh yeah, okay, man.
Derek likes that end game picture.
I do.
He just wants to make one jump.
Yeah.
How do you run a marathon?
Yeah,
one
it's
step at a time,
man. I mean, everything is one step at a time.
That's
And the
it.
same thing, like you said, it's a one thing that we get involved in.
Yeah.
We start reading our Bible a little bit at a time, right? We get involved in the church a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Because you can see it, and Daniel, when you overtake too much at once,
You burn out.
you burn out.
Yep. Too much, too fast.
Seen it too much.
Because you're not taking those little steps, right?
Well, in the spirit of growth and struggles here, I want to read this real quick. It says, remember, your words can plant gardens or burn the whole forest down.
Right. It's a good one.
I like
That's
it.
true, and it's very important because that's your language that you even use with yourself, right? Right.
That's-
Saying,
that's
"Oh,
the hardest thing.
I want to do these things." Right? I want to. Again, you can't just want it. You
I have to.
I have to. Yep. I'm going to.
Yeah. I have to get up in the morning and do this. I have to do this.
Stop
But
saying I want to.
It's got to be I have to.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know.
I'm going
Like,
to. I have to.
I didn't want to go run today.
Yeah.
But it was the I have to go run. Like I have to get this done. You know, and it's the same thing. Like there's days I get up and I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather just sit here, drink my coffee, and watch the weather, or like just sit
Right.
here and you know.
Oh, I called
But
Jed.
then it's like, like I have to spend time with God because He's waiting on me. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like God
Yeah.
wants to spend time with you.
He does.
You know
What
and-
father doesn't want to spend time with their
Right.
kids?
And I hear all that, like, and I've even said it, and I've heard too, is you gotta get to a place where you want to spend time, not that you have to spend time. And I'm like, there's sometimes in our life to where we even, as Christians, even as pastors, we go, I have to spend time with God today because if I don't, my day's gonna be ruined. Like there are those moments.
There are.
And
that's being truthful,
But that's
right?
right. It's
Yeah.
being honest. But
Yeah.
it is right. It's the words that we even use with ourselves. Like, and I think I hear like just of students. I don't know how your kids are, especially your girls, but like students that I see all the time, and they're just like, I wish I was prettier, or they're not my friends anymore right now. You know, like, and I hear that, and I'm like, where's all this self negativity coming from? Like,
Social media.
right.
Well, that's it.
And that's valid, but I'm like, you need to change your mindset.
Yes.
Because you are as pretty as you need to be. Like,
Right.
who cares what someone else looks like?
Right. Somebody said this once, and I mean, it's actually true how hard it is to believe. No one else can make you mad. No one else can make you sad. No one else can make you happy. It's you.
Right.
It's all you. It's your reaction to these things.
It's not
right?
you, it's me.
You
Except for Randy.
You control your emotions. You control your self-thought. You control your self-motivation to go do things. You know, and that's where, like, these self-help books and gotta get a self-help book so I can become a better Christian. No, you don't. Just get in the Bible. Like,
Right.
go do it.
Start there first.
That's the book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the book.
That's the only book you need.
And then and that's the thing though too is, you know, we could say that as well. You know, we talk about the family we have and the group we have. A lot of times too, we need to get the naysayers out of our lives,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
We have the opportunity. We have that where we can say, I don't want you involved right now in my life because you're
Yeah.
actually bringing me down.
Yeah.
And then you get the naysayers out.
Yeah.
But we need to sit here also think, who's the top 10 scale or who's the number 1 scale to make me pretty? Who's the one made the perfect body? We have the perfect example in this
And
book.
that's where
So we have the awesome example right here. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't based upon the perfect body. It was based upon.
his, you know,
Yeah, his
we
ways.
are created in
So
his
where we set
image.
our standards at, you know.
Right.
And that's
You're ugly.
where,
Okay, compared to what?
Yeah, compared to who?
Okay,
With what?
so
Right?
but here's where I come back to, because then I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna call myself ugly, and I go back and I believe what the word says, and it says in Genesis that I was created in God's image.
Yeah.
What
Fearfully
am
and
I
wonderfully
saying of
made.
God?
Right.
I'm saying
Right.
God's ugly. Like,
You just called God ugly. I'm
You
sorry
know
for
what I
you,
mean?
buddy.
Right.
like, and that's where I'm like, that's part of the process too, and that's what I've tried to teach the students here, which is a hard thing.
It is,
to
'cause
break through
everything's on
because
image.
society
Yep.
today is so much on image. I'm like, look, you are in God's image, and that is the only thing. You know, like the girls, you are a princess of the king. Like, who cares what anybody else says, you know? And I tell the boys,
Yep.
they are princesses. You are a prince. You will treat them as such.
Right.
Like,
And another thing, you know, that line that, you know, we're created in the image of God. The translation also could be we are created as the imager of God,
Right.
meaning that we are also supposed to be the
His-
God that
right.
people see on this
Right.
earth. The way we act, what we say, what we do, and you know that I wish I was, as you're saying, you wish you were pretty or whatever it was. That will melt away really fast if you are living a godly life.
Yeah.
Because
you are pretty, Ray.
Thanks, Randy.
Ray, you could work on a few things.
Yeah, you know, I forget to shave all the time and
I know
stuff too.
you
But
missed Sunday, Derek, but Roger's message, he said, you know, take a bag of apples and one bad apple will ruin all of them. So, but he also was talking with Lot's wife turning, and so you got that bad apple in that bag. This is how I kind of took it Sunday. It'll ruin it. So yes, you do need to step away, but you might be able to save that apple. The apple has its own choice too.
right.
So
Right.
You can cut off the bad part. and-
cut out the bad part, and maybe it'll be okay.
And maybe that negative person is around you because they need to see your positivity
That is true.
to change.
Maybe.
And that, you know, and that's hard to process because the older I get, the more I hate being around negative people. You know, like I'm like, look, there's positive in everything. Find the positive, and
Just wait a few more years.
And be like, the more I'm around Derek, the more I've started being like, okay, I'm gonna
You're the
find the
negative, Derek. You heard
positive. No, like the more I've been around Derek, the more I've started going, all right, I'm gonna find the positive in everything that I see.
Yeah, and
Like-
that's why I enjoy. Like, you know, most of the time, I'm in a fairly good mood, right? I mean, most of the time, until
Until somebody tells you no, and then,
right,
then
right. And we're going, no, you can't tell me no. But
I'm entitled.
yeah, that's exactly it.
You know who I am?
Yeah, but I think the law enforcement side of that was what has taught me.
Yeah.
Every day is a blessing. Every encounter is a blessing, right? And I have that nature of just helping, right? Helping services. Like I do truly want to help people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so with that helping nature is having that, I don't know, being happy, right? I mean, being blessed. I'm a very blessed man. And I say that today, I'll say it tomorrow. It's just every day I wake up is a new day and it's a blessing.
Yep. Yeah.
Right? So that's how I look at it.
I think we need to. Well, we all sit here and kind of want to tend to, like we say, go to the bad apple. And, we need to take them out of our lives. But if they need to be in our lives and they're still, the bad apple, at some point, consciously, they take it as a challenge to be negative towards you. So why can't we just get over that point and take it to challenge ourselves to be more positive?
Yeah.
We need to wrap our minds around of not being brought down, but have the challenge of being positive.
Well, it is, and it's a battle. I can tell you right now, I have a friend just like that.
Yeah.
Right. I have a friend that every time I talk to him.
And I'm not saying it's annoying you're not weak. I'm just saying.
Well, no.
I'm just saying, why don't we just reverse the rules?
No, and he doesn't even live here. But
He's not pointing at Jed. He's not pointing at Jed.
We're asking for a friend.
Jed raised his hand. He was like, "It's me."
yeah, no, but like this this individual doesn't work. Right? He tries to do this or tries to do that, and it's always woe is me, always this, always that, and it's long conversation. And at the end of it, I'm like, dude,
You wore me down.
he wore me out, man. But I still
Jed,
love on him, right?
Sorry.
He's still my friend. I still love on him.
Yeah.
But it's not the type of person I'm going to call every day to go, man, I want to talk to you every day because you're just going to uplift me and I'm going to be
so
shining
much
today.
positivity.
Right? No, it's every once in a while where, okay, I'm still your friend. I still love on you. But man, I don't want to call you every day because you're going to bring me down.
Yep.
And I don't want that.
Yep. That's true.
So when we can go to that point where we got one bad apple in the basket, yes, I bet you all of us have one bad apple in the basket, and we can name them today.
So we'll start with Randy. No, I'm just kidding.
But we don't try to,
That apple in every basket.
and we give them multiple
red.
chances. We give them multiple opportunities, right? To
Yep.
say, hey, man, we try to guide them and nurture them, right? We try to go, hey, why don't you try this? Or does this work? Or, and then where you wear yourself out so much, you're just like, put your big boy pants on and go do this because everyone else has to do this.
And that right there makes that phone call once a month instead of every day.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to hear your truth.
Right.
You know?
That's the way you have to handle it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not good to have naysayers in your group every day.
In your inner circle, if you
In
will.
your inner circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's my thought this year at school is like the teachers love to pull out negative all the time. Mm-hmm. My kids were so bad because of this, and my kid and even today they're like, oh, my kids, they wouldn't quit talking, and I was like, man, at least my kids were willing to talk to me. Like took that whole negative thought and just like, at least they were willing to talk.
Right.
And that shifted the whole conversation. Like they were like, okay, I'm not bringing anything else up right now. But that's going to be me this year. So I'm going to try to find the positive every day with my students.
And you have to.
There's going to be negatives. I know there is because we're all human.
Right.
But I can't harp on that. I'm going to find the positives.
Well, yeah. And
Y'all are going to turn into a bunch of Lisas.
well, no. I mean,
Well, you two make up already.
no. I mean, there's
Shame
some,
on you for saying that.
and there's
Jed.
there's
I know
things that you look at, Jed, in your lives and daily little things that even we talked about tonight. Mm-hmm. Right. There's things that go, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, all right, that just brightened my whole day. And then if we just sat and dwelled on just the negativity day in and day out every day, man, it's just going to burn you, man. It's just going to tear you down.
I don't think the last 3 or 4 months I've I can find the best things in the worst situations.
Right.
You've had some practice.
Yeah, I've had a lot of practice.
Yes,
And
yes.
I look for some of the simplest positives.
Yep. But it's important to have that group of not just Christians to be around, but as we even just mentioned, an inner circle, some Christians that you actually do let in, and some Christians that you find the ones you want to hang out with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I know our lives are busy, and whenever we've talked about this numerous times, we'll probably say it 20 more, that every time we're leading up to podcast this Thursday, and it's always this and that and blah, blah, blah. Then the second we get here, there's not
We
a
act
doubt
like we like each other.
there's not right. But I leave this energized.
Right.
I leave this feeling good. I leave. This is something. This has become almost necessary for me to say, in a way, like this is a recharging for me.
We know it does.
I think I texted Derek this afternoon and said, therapy.
Yep. Right.
That's what it's become for us.
Right.
Right. Because you don't get. It's hard to carve out an opportunity like this in your normal life anyway. And so even if you're listening and, I'm not saying go start a podcast, but maybe find some Christians that you can just say, hey, you know what? Let's just commit to getting together once a month. Commit to getting together every other week or once a week or whatever your schedule allows. And make a commitment, make a plan, schedule dates, put them on a calendar.
We just couldn't get enough of the front porch talk.
Right, and that's exactly what I was about to say.
Right.
This stemmed out of us wanting to sit after church and just continue talking because we did enjoy the company. I felt energized even then whenever I left because I was like, man, there's people like me who I can talk to who understand what I'm going through. And that's where this came from. It wasn't just us going, hey, let's do this. This is a good idea.
But another day.
It was the wives. It was the wives going, we got to get going, honey.
We gotta get going.
Are you guys done talking?
Can y'all get together
It's
some
time to
other
leave.
time?
Church was over 2 hours ago, boys.
Yeah.
Well, start walking. You could have been home by now.
I thought Wednesday night Bible study ended at 7:30. Why is it 10?
Right. That's it, right? Every Wednesday night. It's 8:05. Are we leaving yet?
Right. And so now we don't have the wife sitting here, hey, you need to get home until it gets really, really late. We're like, well, I'm going to bed already.
Yep.
Yeah,
But, I mean,
that's when we're getting the text.
About
Your dinner's in the
11
oven.
o'clock. Where are you?
and it just shows that we're real people. We have real struggles. Us men have struggles constantly on a daily basis.
And we should have the hardest struggles.
We should.
Because we should take them.
And we make 1,000 decisions a day, right? We make decisions so much in a day-to-day thing. And so sometimes we need to just sit down and talk about, hey, you're going through that struggle? Man, I went through that a month ago. This is what I did. I don't know if it helps, but this is what I did. The same thing with you, Jed. I mean, you've gone through a lot of struggles in the last few months. And it might be encouraging to some folks that are out there listening, going, man, this worked for me. I'm going to share it. If it doesn't, I mean, I'm sorry, but it worked for me. And it just shows that we all have struggles, man.
Yeah.
And that brings up the challenge to whoever is listening. If you think this is a sugar-coated conversation, won't you email us in and we'll tell you the struggle, or we'll talk about it and we'll tell you exactly, because none of this is rehearsed.
No.
No.
Not a bit.
We sit here and talk like this to each other every day.
Yeah.
And sometimes worse, maybe even less than. But I'm sitting here saying, if you think we're just sitting here reading something out to you guys, email us, ask us whatever question you think, and we'll
I mean, maybe the professional podcasters are out there listening and going, yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I'm just telling you how it is, man.
Exactly.
That's all I'm doing.
That's all.
I'm
and
telling
that's all
you
we
how
wanted
the real
to do.
struggles of, me worrying about kids, me worrying about life, the struggles I go through in life. We talked about marriages. We talked about raising kids. We talked about comfort zones. I mean, these are real struggles that we deal with on a daily basis, man.
Yeah.
I think we gave pretty much good backgrounds on ourselves and what we showed that we screwed up on that
Right.
we noticed.
Right.
You get our wives in here, I guarantee
man.
they'll let us know more.
Hit
yeah.
the
But
Wise podcast.
I'm just saying, none of this is.
I knew it's coming.
You can't
sometime.
make us up.
The wives of spiritual
Yeah, but
debriefing.
you know what? They don't listen, so it's just really good. They won't hear this episode.
Yeah, I'll just make sure they push the wrong button when they think they're recording it. For some reason, the whole thing was ruined. I don't know what happened.
But you're right, guys. I mean, this is what it stemmed off of. It was us just sitting all the time together and just discussing the same topics, the same stuff, And it just stemmed to going, hey, we got our own time now. We get to sit here and still talk to each other.
Yeah.
Still encourage each other. Still try to uplift each other. You know, and the same thing, though, too, is if we're doing something wrong, you know, one of y'all are going to come tell me. Mm-hmm. Or it's going to be vice versa, right? I mean, it's going to be. And that's all we wanted to do. I mean, really.
And pretty much
now
the
we
conversation don't ever stop because we haven't seen each other a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
a few of us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the conversation we started a couple of weeks ago, we came in, sat down, and still talked about it. Or we come up with different conversations that we're probably going to talk about next time we see each other.
And we have comfortable seats now. We don't have to stand on the porch to talk about it.
Nice.
At least 4 of us do.
Yeah, trying to kill mosquitoes all the time. Oh, man, that hurt.
Yeah. This chair's still comfortable right now.
Yeah.
It's all right.
All right.
But, no, it's been good, man. That's
Yeah.
that's what we wanted to
I don't
do.
even know how long we've been going at this now for a year, hasn't
We're
it?
coming up on a year real soon. I
Are
think.
we?
Yeah, the episodes are in the low 20s, and I know we missed a few days, so it's got to be real quick. Because you know
Yeah.
what, 52 weeks. As soon as you hit 26 episodes, that'd be a year if we did it
that's-
every other week. But
That's what I thought. It was like towards the end of summer.
it
Yeah,
was.
Beginning
It was.
of the school year was when we started.
I'll have
this.
to look back on it because when we got our special 1 year anniversary, it might even end up being the one Corey comes back almost like right on the
that'd be
time.
funny,
We'll
wouldn't it?
see.
That'd be kinda
Awesome
cool.
right there. That'd be really cool.
Yep.
Well, we said that, though, too. We said this multiple times throughout the year. We didn't want this as a job, right? We're not making this as a job, that we have to do this. You know, we have life struggles. You know, things have happened in, you know, everybody's lives that we couldn't be here. But we didn't want to make it into saying, I have to be here because now I have to do a podcast and I'm just going to, and that's not going to be emotional or it's not going to be from the heart because now you're saying I have to be here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now, you know, we've had all this stuff. Hey, we're going to try it if the Lord willing, right? We'll be here in next week or 2 weeks, record another episode.
Yep.
So,
Yep. Yeah, there hasn't been. I want to be here. I like
Right.
it. You know, I do. I think we all do. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't gotten that anybody. Oh, we're doing it again.
maybe sometimes I just didn't hear it.
Yeah, right. We just say it behind your back. It's all good.
We did
No,
this,
we
did a while ago because Derek's like, can we do it 30 minutes later? God.
Yeah.
Just joking.
It's when you text us, hey, are we meeting this week?
Crickets for an
that's
hour.
where-
Yeah. Everybody sits. Everybody's
Who's
quiet.
first?
Who's gonna respond?
I'll just respond for myself. Yes, we're going.
I'm just going to show up.
Yeah, right.
There's,
Well,
have you heard
just-
this music video? We're still
Everybody-
talking about this over here. I don't care. Have you heard this?
Are we gonna meet tonight at 6:30? Nobody responds. Derek sends a video. Oh, man, that's great. We love that. His voice
good
is
stuff.
outstanding.
Good stuff.
Oh, man, that kid's good.
Yeah.
He
Oh, heck yeah.
was, man.
Good.
He's
Oh, heck
good.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and when I saw that, I'm like, I did not picture that at all.
No, right.
Oh,
I was.
that
I was.
voice
That.
was-
Yeah. He's got a voice of like a 50-year-old man coming out of that kid.
I thought it was fake at first.
Yeah,
You know,
you'd
I thought
almost
it was-
could be.
But I'm like,
Yep.
well, he has a lot of videos out.
Yeah, I finally this morning listened to that song because I've been hearing people talk about that Richmond, north of Richmond song.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Oh, man.
and I'm like, man, that's a good one.
It is a good song.
That is a dang good song.
Yep.
But yeah.
About all them politics up in D.C.
Oh yeah, yep. And it's interesting to talk to the controversy immediately surrounding it, of course, because
Oh, yeah.
some people are trying to claim, oh, he's an industry plant, and the dude's like, I think he works at a steel mill or something like that. I mean, he's just a regular old dude. He's like, I can't even play guitar very well. He
Right.
says, he goes, I just wrote a good song.
Which is like good old boys like us is sitting here talking about struggles, man.
Right.
We're real as
Right.
real could be.
It just speaks to exactly what a lot of us know, you know. But and so I was like, I finally was like, I'm just gonna listen to that thing. I got to listen to it and listen to it. I was like, dang, that's a good song. All right, I'm gonna share it in case everybody hadn't heard it, you know. So it's like this just makes you want to share that out, you know.
Yeah.
Because the point and thing to remember as a Christian is that that's not what we need to focus on or worry about or struggle about anyway. We're not saying we're supposed to ignore it, right? God, it does not say in the Bible, ignore that, but that's not our focus.
Right.
That's not where we're supposed to put ourselves. And then, it's one of the things I've even talked about with my wife sometimes because, complaining about politics and doing nothing about it is stupid. It is absolutely stupid. And if you're going to sit there and say that you don't like what's happening and you're not going to go do anything, then, I mean, again, you're literally just whining. It's the same as the people who are saying, I want to be prettier. I want to know how to do this. I want to know how to do that. I want government to be better. Then go do something about it. Right. And as a Christian, I don't think it's not forbidden for you to do. It's not what you're called to, but if you think that's what God's calling you to do, then go do something about it. You know, and I've talked to my wife about that because I'm like, do I have to just not ignore it? Because when I hear about it, it gets me fired up and I want to do something about it. Or do I just ignore it completely? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I'm just came to me.
Well, I mean, we can reverse that back too. I mean, we've had these struggles in churches, right? You know, we can sit and complain about why this is happening in the church.
Yep.
Until you step up and do something about it.
Right. That's
you know, and I hear it all the time too as well. You know, if you want to, if you, well, we heard about, you know, I mean, just since the workforce, right? If you want to see change and promote, right? You be the boss then, right?
Yep.
So sometimes we got to do that in churches as well, and that's where sometimes we struggle with because some of us don't want to do it.
Right. Well, I know Daniel knows this very keenly because he probably gets it the most. So why don't we do this with kids, or why don't we do that with the kids? And he's like, "All right, great, step up, do it.
Yeah,
Get off your butt and do it."
I feel like I've said that to you before. Huh?
I think you've said that. You may have said that even on the podcast before. But it's the truth.
Sometimes we do. You know,
It's
hey,
the
some of you know, there are some parents that do get involved.
No, you're right. But where I was coming from that, Ray, was because I remember Ray talking to me about doing a parking lot ministry, and the teens doing it.
Yep.
And I looked at him. I said, the teens are in the nursery. The teens are in children's church. The teens are running the camera. The teens are running. The teens are doing this.
They're involved.
They are.
And so I'm like, if you want the teens to do it, then the adults need to step up and start showing how to do stuff.
Right.
And he was like, okay.
No, I get what you're saying. Get what you're saying. Yep. And when I first thought of it,
I can't keep piling stuff onto them. Like,
no, you can't have them do everything.
They've
no, you
stepped
can't.
up so much.
You can't.
You know, and
they really have over the last few months.
Actually, they really have. If you really think about it, yeah, you're right.
Like Wyatt, he loves the camera.
Yeah, he does.
Looks
He loves
forward
the
to that
camera.
every Sunday.
He was asking about learning how to help out and do some of this stuff too. Help out with the podcast.
He wants to, and I think
and he's talked to me about getting a second camera so he can learn how to do the whole video switching for the actual live stream when we get to that and everything. And I'm like, dude, let's do this.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Kobe helps in the sound booth, and
Kobe helps us run sound.
then some of the ladies in the teenage, they're in the nursery.
They're doing the nursery now. That's awesome.
Haley and McKenzie are doing. Well, they've been doing the nursery since we started that back up. But Haley and McKenzie are running the nursery, and then Kobe, Kyle, and Haley all help with children's church when it's on their rotation, and
yeah, it's nice to see them involved.
Haley runs the words on Sunday when Rhonda's out. I mean, so you know the teens are like, hey, let's serve, let's work, and I love that.
That's awesome.
Well, that's some of my best memories.
Yeah,
from being a kid, because I was assistant song leader, was a song leader, Sunday school superintendent. So, I mean, it gives you a good base.
My senior year of high school, I wasn't in a Sunday school class. I taught a Sunday school class. You know, like I was a co-teacher for 7th grade boys Sunday school as a senior in high school. Like, I didn't sit through a Sunday school class. I wanted to serve, and so that's.
You know what I looked forward to when I was a kid? Was passing the plate.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because he involved the youth group.
Yeah.
You know, so you had some of us youth men passing the plate. And I don't know what it was. I just enjoyed doing that. You know?
It's just, I mean, it's a form of servanthood that needed to be done. And
But it's also you're getting some responsibility.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're being given
responsibility.
something that you can do it right. People, actually give you. You get that. It's just smiles, even just a smile from somebody for doing it.
Yeah.
That's
And
it
everybody's
gives you
watching.
something. Yep.
Yep. And then even at the old church, I did the announcements.
Yeah.
You know, it's just.
And I was about to say, when I'm out, Derek does announcements for me.
Yep. So I mean, it's just stuff like that. I mean, and it's nice. I think it's our part of serving.
We're called
It's
to
always
serve.
something to do.
There's always something to do. Always.
Right. And if you're unsure of how you can help out, right, you can go ask what's available.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I think another good thing too is talk to some of your closest Christian friends and ask them what you think you'd be good at, because they'll probably be able to tell you.
Right.
Right. They'll be able to tell you, because I know a lot of people have a hard time seeing their own strengths.
You're right.
Right, because we're really good at looking at our weaknesses. We're really good at Satan reminds us all the time about our weaknesses, all day, every day. But I think it helps to have other people around you who can give you that little bit of encouragement and guidance.
Well, even our kids ministry. So this is something coming up. Y'all get the first hand on this. You ready? Our kids ministry.
We got church secrets.
Our kids ministry has even come to me and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And so the 5th Sunday of October, which is also our chili supper dessert auction. By the way, I need to talk to you, Jed, about that. But we're doing a Young Servants Day is what we're calling this, Young Servants Day. So we're going to have one of the teenagers do the announcements that week. Like, I'm not doing announcements, so they're going to do the announcements. They're going to hand out the bulletins and be a greeter. Kids ministry is getting up, singing, and leading us on Sunday morning. They're passing the plate, like the kids are doing this.
That's good.
And then the youth are doing some of the bigger stuff. And we talked to Roger Wednesday night, and we're going to let Kyle do like a 10-15 minute devotional, and then I'll follow up and probably do like a mini sermon.
That'd be cool
after him. So
super cool.
like I'm pretty pumped about it.
Sounds good. Good.
I hope Kyle goes for 30 or 45 minutes and you don't get a chance.
I do too. I hope so too. I mean, wait. I'm supposed to be encouraged. Wait.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter to me if he does. I'll
Just telling you the truth, buddy.
I just like to see the young ones take
do too.
off.
I do too. No, and that's the
Absolutely.
thing is he's come to me and said he's felt called to ministry, which is why I've let him teach on a Wednesday night. Same thing with Wyatt. And so I went to Roger, and he even said, "Do you have teens that you could think of?" And I said, "Kyle or Wyatt. They both feel led to ministry,
Yeah, let him. Why not start?
Why not? Yeah." And he said, "Okay." He's like, "Tell them 10 to 15 minutes is what they get."
Start building that confidence.
Because we want the church to support and back and
Yep.
and say,
But you don't want to have them
you
bite
are
off
called.
more than they can chew either.
Right, and at the same time, they're 13, 14, 15 years old, so Roger's he's kind of like, do I let them in the pulpit? Because there's some sound grounding
Right.
too
Right.
that he's kind of, which I get, and that's where I told him, I said, dude, this is your call. Like, if you don't want them in the pulpit except for announcements, like, that's what we'll do, but this is your call. And so
You can just be back there with the kill button on the live stream if you need to.
well, no, because I'll be up front.
Oh,
But,
gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
Like anything else, you just never know until
I'll
you
tell
try.
Wyatt that. I'll tell Wyatt the
You see me do this. You just.
I mean, we all seen it on the video y'all enjoyed when I sent to you. I forgot that I sent it to you, but the kid
little
preacher,
boy.
the
Yeah.
little boy preacher,
He's on
I mean,
fire.
you just never knew. Until you
So-
how you do it. So,
Yep, because God will move through someone who truly believes and truly is in that state and there to glorify God.
If that's truly your calling, yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep, and
Like, if-
and the
if you're
truth
not-
of it, even if it's not your calling, in that moment, God could use you anyway.
right.
You know,
Right,
I mean, I'm just saying that's
100%. Yeah. But yeah, if God's not called you to it, I'm a firm believer that if God's not called you to it, He's not going to equip you to do it.
right.
You know what I mean?
Well, right. If for permanent anyway, I
Right.
definitely
And
agree with
so,
that. But
He may give you some words of wisdom to say to somebody. Doesn't necessarily mean you're called to go evangelize it or preach.
no, it's true. It's true.
You know,
Yep. But and it's one of those things that throughout the Bible, God uses people who aren't even Christians constantly, right? To affect change, to a lot of times affect punishment,
Rahab.
but not always. Yeah, but not always punishment. Even sometimes it's amazing, great things happen from them, right?
which is great. Have you seen the genealogy to Jesus from Rahab, the prostitute?
No, yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
right.
Jesus
right.
comes from that line. Yeah.
Right, exactly,
That's what it is.
and that's the same thing could happen at any moment. Again, if God is working, if God is moving, if it's God's will, anybody can do anything, right? And even if and just to again going to that point, even if somebody got up there selfishly to elevate themselves, if for whatever reason in that moment God wanted to use them, He could literally just switch what they think they were going to say, and next
Right.
thing you know, it's going in a different direction. So
Or whatever they say was meant for somebody.
exactly. I'm not saying that you'll put whoever you're up there now, because that doesn't matter. That's not what I'm saying at all either.
So you still got to be careful.
You got to be
know,
discerning. Yes, we're called to do all of that. But the more my point of that is to never to be. We are supposed to be to judge what we are hearing, but never to be the judge. We should never prejudge someone and say, because this young person is going up, I'm not even going to tune in. I'm not even going to listen. I'm not even going to give them a chance. I'm not even going to pay attention or any of that, because it could, again, with God working through it, it could be the most amazing thing you've ever seen.
And God could have called them to preach, and then people being like that could turn them to be like, you know what, maybe I'm not doing this.
Right.
You know,
right.
and then they turn away from it.
And figure out what they're actually supposed to do.
Well,
too.
But no. Like,
but I'm just saying, I see God did
and
call.
then you have the negativity of people going, oh, they're young, you know, whatever, and then that could sour too, and it sours in them, and they're like, you know what, I'm out.
Yep,
you know?
yep.
It's kind of like a video I sent you, Jed. Is, you know, nail holes in anybody's hands just wouldn't prove the point. It had to be one person.
One person.
In God's in Jesus' hands, nail holes meant everything.
That's right.
A stone in David's hand. It just all depends on that one hand. Whose hands are they in? You know, and who God prepares for those hands. You know,
and we never know who it'll be.
Yep.
No, and there's that exact same point. Funny you bring up David in that moment with that stone, because how old was he at that point? Like 14,
young,
13, 14, young boy up against the pride of the Philistine army.
Yeah,
right. Again, and nobody would have put him there. Nobody would have picked him to put him there.
No, but I love
he picked himself and put himself there.
But I love too, like if you look at David, his past played into being able to be there in that present moment.
It did.
Right.
It did. All the things that happened to him.
Saving the lamb from a lion and a bear.
Yeah,
right.
God prepared.
I was wondering, is that at the same time or no? I'm just kidding.
I had a pretty good one I read this week or a couple of weeks ago about David. It said David didn't need to know Goliath's strength because he already knew God's strength.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing you are
Didn't
facing
matter
today
his.
is stronger than God.
Yep.
I'd read that and I was like, dude, that's
Yep.
that one hits home right there.
Yep.
You know?
Anytime we deny and say we're not going to do it because we say we can't, then we're also saying God can't, because it's not about us anyway.
No.
Moses said he couldn't, and what did God say?
Yeah, he said you're going to do it anyway.
David said,
Do it anyway.
okay.
Yep.
Which just goes to show you, by the time Moses got to that point, he was 40.
Yep.
David was a teenager, you know, so there's that whole old man saying, I can't do it. And then Dave, like a teenage boy going, I got this.
Yep.
I'm invincible.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'll tell you what, man.
But I just think, as you read that story of David, as we go back onto old teens and stuff, did you catch the rock and like exactly where it hit?
Oh, and it hit him right in the forehead?
Right. Goliath is like covered head to toe.
In armor.
Every part of him is covered except for one little spot right in the middle of that forehead. Right exactly where the rock hit. You know?
Yep.
And I think too, like when we look at a picture, because we weren't there, but when we look at a picture, they're both standing still.
Right.
But when you read in scripture, what's it say? They were charging each other. So it's not that David was like, stop, took aim, and then threw. Like, he's doing this as he's running.
Yep.
And hits that just perfect spot.
Yep. Yep.
Only God.
Yeah, right.
Only God.
Only
Yep.
God.
Only God. David's faith in God.
Yep.
You know,
And how many people said, David, don't go out there?
David, you're too little.
Yep.
We tell Jed that all the time.
Only when we're going on like amusement park rides and stuff.
He's short and old.
Jed, you can't ride that roller coaster. You don't meet the height requirement.
Jed, that rock's bigger than you. Put it down.
We love you, Jetty. No, but I mean, don't we tell teenagers all the time they can't do something because they're too young?
Yep.
All the time. And you talked about a while ago how you're raising White to be a man. You know, and I think back to when I was White's age, that's when my dad started teaching me how to to drive a trailer on a truck.
Yep.
How to pull a 4-wheeler, how to,
Yep.
I started baling hay when I was 5 years old.
Well, I wasn't that young.
I was going to say, no eliminates too many options.
I was
that kills your
age.
confidence
But,
quickly.
You know, and that was the thing, was like, that's when you start learning to be a man as a teenage boy, is at that age. But now we're at a point where we tell them no.
Yeah, and even like
Like
so.
Ray said, I mean, back years ago, our daughters would have already been married and having children.
They would have been married at like
we've
14, 15,
digressed.
16 years old.
Yep.
And
To the man
that's
you
crazy
picked.
to think about. To the man you picked, because they paid 2 chickens and a cow.
Man. But even like for instance,
like
you know, so I had Wyatt hook up the boat and the boat trailer to
Yeah.
the truck, right?
Yeah.
So he hooked it up. I didn't even double check him because I had the confidence that he's been doing it quite often and like this.
You have to let him fail.
Right, we did, because as soon as we left the house and we hit the bridge, the boat came off the ball, and all of a sudden it went,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like,
And you got to catch yourself.
right. So then
I even double check myself. I can't go that far.
Right. So you know, hey,
I do too.
and then, you know, now we get out there. You know, luckily it didn't cause any major damage. Right.
Yeah.
We get it back hooked up. We did that right, and I get in the truck. You know, I told him, I said, "You probably won't do that again, will you?"
Never.
He goes, "No, Dad, I won't." He goes, "I will double check." And now, when he hooks up the trailer, I still let him hook up trailers.
Yep.
And now he has it all hooked up, and then he raises the jack up to make sure it doesn't come off the ball.
There
Goes
you
down,
go.
and he goes,
Awesome.
"Dad, I double checked." I says, "Yeah, I knew you wouldn't do it again."
Yep.
Right, but that's how they learn, though.
Now, if you would have yelled at him and said never again,
Yeah,
that would have
yelled and
changed.
cussed and screamed,
That
and
would've
this
changed
and that.
everything for
He
him.
would have shut down. He
Yeah.
was shut right down.
Yeah.
And he was expecting it. You could see on his face, like he was looking at me like, "Here it comes.
I'm dead."
Like here it comes."
He was
Right?
ready for it.
You get
yeah.
out there and look, and like there's not much damage. I'm like, all right, we got to do this. Let's unhook it. We're on the highway. You know, I'm like, we got to hurry and get this hooked
Yeah.
up.
I
When I
think
get in
my
the truck-
frustration is whenever, like you said, you got to learn yourself to back
That's
up.
it. That's
But
it.
my frustration is if you cross the line of not wanting to fix your mistake,
Right,
that's when I blow up.
Right.
right.
And right or wrong, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to fix your mistake, then that's when you need to be the light shined upon your
Yeah.
mistakes.
I mean, like,
But-
you know, even that, you know, he was looking at me like, "Man, here it comes, man. I'm gonna get beat."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, and I just looked down, I'm like, in a calmly voice like this, I'm like, "You won't do that again, will you, son?" No, I won't. I promise. I'm like, "I know you won't."
Again,
Right.
Derek cooked it up.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, yeah. But you know, now he's built that, right? I mean,
Right.
I let him fail, right? I mean, and it could have cost me a big price to let him
It could
fail,
have.
but it didn't. We're lucky,
Yep.
And even
I
if
mean,
you,
But
lucky
you got insurance.
right? Right. I got insurance.
and that's where I think too, because I remember, man, my brother, bless his heart, he ran a tree, like he ran the 4-wheeler up a tree and caused damage to the 4-wheeler, and I'm waiting on my dad just to tear into him, because I mean it like tore everything up underneath, thousands of dollars of damage to this 4-wheeler, and my dad looked at him and said, "I think you need to be off the 4-wheeler for a little while, and let's work on paying this off." And that was it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was waiting on my dad just to beat him. Like,
But like sometimes we learn, man. Like,
Yeah.
and you know, like Autumn. Sometimes she would do things, and I'd come unglued, man. I'd be honest. I mean, like, you know, it'd be like, you know, beep, 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 beep. You know, this and beep, and you know, I'm like, I have to grow in myself as well, and be like, okay, I'm here to teach y'all.
yeah.
You know,
and we probably made the mistakes as a kid as
and
well.
we have.
Because that's
So
where
we
I'm like,
did.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
We take
We're all there.
We take their frustration back in the day because they didn't hold back any. And
There's-
bring it like, this is how we do it. Well, I guess we need to change because that's not really how we need to do it.
Yeah.
but
Right.
how many
But it's
times
my
have you
turn, I get to
made?
do it. No.
How many times have you made that same mistake as an adult? Like, didn't 100% double check yourself on a trailer, or
well, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like even I've done that.
Yeah.
As an adult,
Yeah.
is I didn't check myself, and so the trailer like popped off. Luckily, there was nothing on the trailer. It was a
Right.
quick pick back
Yeah.
up, but
Yeah.
So
And that's how we learn, though, because when
Right.
that happens, man, we're gonna double, triple check everything now.
I did
right?
it. I did it as a kid, and then I
Yep.
got comfortable and just got relaxed in hooking up trailers, and then
But
Well,
it's funny, even like last week, I even had him back the trailer into the spot. I had him hook the trailer up again, and now I have him driving around the yard and doing this. Man, he just thinks of the world of that. I'm like, really, Dad? You're gonna let me move? Yeah, go ahead.
Go.
You gotta learn,
Yep.
right? I mean, you gotta learn.
when you gonna let him back the boat down the boat ramp?
That's coming real soon. Well, he does
Sweet.
that. Like I
Does
get
he?
it. I get it parked pretty
Yeah.
straight, and then I get in the boat and I says, "Son, just come back slow." And a couple of times he's got me where I fell in the boat, like where he would come down the ramp and then hit the brakes because I'm like, "Oh my goodness,
Did we get
man!"
that
I'm like,
recorded?
"Dude, I know." But he's getting better and better, so he'll back it in, and then I'll wave him off when I get the boat off the ramp or off the trailer. And then he'll drive the truck all the way up into the parking spot. But now if we're doing like a tournament, like we're usually the first ones there because I'm like, I don't want to get in the way of these, top dog fishermen.
Right.
But there's been times where he had to like park it in between two cars and he's like, I'm so nervous, Dad. I'm so nervous. I'm like, you got it, man. Like you got it.
I love that.
So it's building the confidence in him too as well. I mean, and here's a tough key that I'm dealing with him right now is decision making. He doesn't want to make a decision because he's afraid that it'd be the wrong decision. We do that in life as men. We have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yep.
If it's wrong, we got to live with it, right?
Right.
I don't dwell on it. I says, yeah, it was a wrong decision. I learned from it. I move on. And that's what I'm trying to teach him right now is that, son, you need to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Your wife
Don't
will
worry about
remind
it.
you
Make a
about all the
decision,
mistakes.
right?
Right. Your wife will tell you.
Right. They will too. They will. But the biggest one is like, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. I don't care. I don't know. I don't care. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Not making a decision is the wrong decision.
Yes.
I'm opening
Yeah.
up that restaurant in Bentonville here. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up the store just looking.
Just looking. Yeah. There you go.
All the wives will be there.
We can have them right next to each other. We can have
There's
them
not going to
attached.
be anything in there.
They
I
can
mean,
be
I
attached.
understand. and I'm going to get in trouble for this one, but I understand why women don't want to pick the restaurant, right?
Right.
Right.
Because you've made the
Yeah,
mistake.
it didn't go well for him last time.
I was going to say on the way to Tulsa, they've got a restaurant called I Don't Care.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. I don't care.
Yeah.
I was like, that's good. They got it. Nope. Actually, here, I can't remember if I said this already, but there's a trick for that, right? You don't say, "Oh, where do you think I'm taking you tonight?" And then take them wherever they said.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, that's a good
Oh,
one.
it's a surprise. Where do you think I'm taking you?
That's the
Oh,
wrong
you guessed it
decision, picking
again.
that one.
I thought I had you that time.
Yep.
That's probably like the biggest question every day.
Yeah.
No.
What do you want to eat? What do you want to dinner?
That we actually
What-
we
hey,
saw that meme the other day. It says,
one of the number one fights in the car is over restaurants and parking spaces.
"Yep, yep."
That's it.
I try to use I'll eat whatever you cook or whatever, and that still doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Right.
No.
Yep.
But I came home excited Monday afternoon. I was like, I don't know what it was, but man, I had cravings for sloppy joes.
Ooh.
And then she asked me, she's like, what do you want for dinner? I said, I know exactly what I want.
Yep.
I said, I want sloppy joes and potato chips. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, man, it was so good.
I haven't done sloppy joes in forever.
We haven't either, man. I don't know. It's just on my. I was like,
no,
I'm just
some.
craving it.
The sloppy
Loose
joes,
meat sandwich.
tater tots, and sweet tea.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think I know what I'm doing this weekend.
But and to just finish on the kind of talking about when do you have to take the punishment or take the consequences a step farther, it's not a hard fast line, but it's the difference between a mistake and a willful act of defiance. Right. You can't let a willful act of defiance go.
Correct.
If you'd told him to, hey, go double check the trailer, and he didn't do it,
Right.
you'd probably have a completely different reaction
We would.
than if he did it and he just made a mistake.
Right.
So there's definitely something to be drawn there, and that's one of the things that I am working on having myself check. And granted, Harmony's 9, so she's not making any drastic mistakes right now, but she still does. All kids mess stuff up,
Yeah.
And it's just trying to decide, okay, that was just a mistake. You did something stupid. You did something dumb. Something broke. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. Or, you lied about something.
Right.
That is I mean, thousands of dollars of damage actually is way less consequential than lying.
Right. Right.
So, just a little tip if anybody was wondering.
No,
Where's
you're
that
absolutely right.
line?
And there's a line. But I think, that was good. That was good, boys.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you listening to me.
Yeah.
Right. I appreciate everybody out there listening to us because, we've actually had some episodes get quite a few views. I don't know what happened with our last one. It got like 60 views on Rumble. I don't know what happened. It just shot up one day. All of a sudden, a whole bunch of people watched it or listened to it or something. So that was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
daughter listened to it too. She says she told me, she's like, that was a really good episode.
Yes, people liked it for some reason. I don't know. It was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Some of our best seem to be the ones we don't plan at all.
Right.
Because I think the problem with the planning is then we get in the way too much.
Yeah, you're right.
And we don't allow the Holy Spirit to just work through us. The Holy Spirit to just convict us, to talk to us, to work through each other as we discuss these things. And I grow from every single one of these two. I don't think I've left a single one of them without some new understanding, some new information, some new way of looking at things or thinking about things. So I'm grateful for you guys. So
Yeah, I am too. I think it's good. I appreciate, all this stuff. And I know sometimes, be honest too, I mean, sometimes you push us too, right? I told you that. I think sometimes if it wasn't for you going, hey, we're doing this, we'd be like, nah.
We only have 3 episodes out.
Right.
Right.
Well,
We'll
Jed,
get
is your
around to
porch
it.
open right now, man? I got to go talk to you.
Yep.
It's ready for you.
Yeah. But
Yeah, well,
it's
And
good.
Randy.
It's a peaceful porch.
It is a very
a really
peaceful.
peaceful
The view is
That
nice.
rocking chair and the view. Oh my goodness.
Man.
I know we
The-
still haven't
the
made
good
it
thing
out
with
there
that-
yet. We got to
the
get
good
out
thing with
there.
that view is you don't have to climb to get there.
No, you don't.
Sure, you got to go through somewhere to get there.
Well, that you do, but
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Go see best friend Jetty.
That is a nice view. When you get out there, man, you'll see. You can
I
sit on
bet.
that front porch and
I
just look
bet.
out. Because you're up elevated.
you're up elevated.
and you're looking at all the farm fields down there. You're just like, man, it's pretty.
And then when that breeze is blowing through there, oof. Good stuff. Good stuff.
$1 million view. You didn't have to spend $1 million, Jed. Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Right.
In the middle of the night, you can look out and see the glow of Northwest Arkansas
Oh, my.
in the distance.
In the distance.
That's time to go to sleep, not in the middle of the night.
I don't sleep much anymore.
Well, hey, Daniel, will you pray
Yeah, I was
for us?
fixing-
And then
yeah, I
maybe
was
pray
fixing-
for the students
Yeah, I
and the
was fixing to
teachers.
close
And
us out. So
that'd be good, man.
appreciate everybody listening in. Of course, if you got anything that you'd like for us to talk about, Randy said email us quite a bit. But you can email Ray at spiritualdebriefing.com.
Yes.
Got
yes.
it. Didn't even have to look at anything, Randy. You see that? Good stuff.
Randy can't read
He'll
anyway.
learn one day.
Yeah, when you get to the announcements, though, you got to give them notes.
Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
What do you mean you give me an
Because-
announcement 30 seconds before I go up there?
Because I get 3 people with announcements like right before I get up. So
Mine's more important, so you just read
Most of
it.
the time it is. You're right, Randy. I appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead. We'll close out with prayer. Father, we just thank you for tonight, God. We thank you for the time that we got together as men and just discuss things that you've laid on our heart. God, we just pray for the school year, for our students at college, also in high school and middle school and junior high, elementary, God, all the way through. Father, we just ask that you guide them, you lead them, direct them. Father, give them the Christian friends and mentors that they can be around to live their life to glorify you. God, we just also pray for the teachers. It's a struggle for us as teachers in today's environment and today's society of what we can say, what we can't say, what we can do, what we can't do. God, and I just ask that you help us to be able to be a light in some way to these students, whether it's them coming to us with a question first that opens the door for us to talk about you, or just us living a life that glorifies you and looks like you. God, that things that we say somehow point back towards you. So God, we just ask that you be with all of the schools across North America, God, because there's struggles all over the place. Father, we need you back in the school systems, as too many schools have kicked you out. Help these men as they continue to raise their kids, God, some that are adults and in college now, and some that are still in elementary school growing up. But bless these men and continue to guide them to be the husbands and the fathers that you've called them to be, and to be the spiritual leaders of their house that you've called them to be. God, we love you, and we just thank you for blessing us here at Spiritual Debriefing for as long as you have. God, and we just pray your will be done, that you continue to bless us if that's what you want. Father, we love you. We thank you. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for listening to Spiritual Debriefing, a podcast supported by First Baptist Church Hiwasse. Please like and subscribe to the podcast so you can be notified when we post new episodes, as well as check out our past episodes. We'll be posting new podcasts every other Thursday. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have questions you'd like us to answer, comments, or feedback on the podcast, please contact us through our social media or email us at dmeadows@fbchiwasse.com. Thank you, and we hope God blesses your day.